It does, doesn't it? It's that old fixture that not only the 2001 final that we talked about, but through the years, these teams drew against each other in the pool stages on a number of occasions after that 2001 final. Then there was the quarter-final in 2008. There's a rivalry that burns when any Leicester Tigers fan mentions Stade Francais.
Ben Young's back doing the day job or the night job this evening. Irishman Johnny Lacey took charge of the penultimate match at the World Cup, third-place playoff at the Olympic Stadium, South Africa against Argentina. Irish touch judges David Wilkinson and Ollie Hodges, Irish TMO Simon McDowell. The second season of the Champions Cup, opening for business on a nippy night in the East Midlands. It'll conclude on what we hope will be a balmy day in Lyon in the middle of May. Continental line that will stretch from Welford Road to the Grand Stade de Lyon is being drawn by a team in pink and a team in green. And it's the team in pink who draw the first penalty.
Yeah, you know referees are going to set out their stall nice and early, and so much of the time you see a penalty within the first 20 seconds of kickoff. Rolling away is the easy one for referees to give, and I think it was Marcus Ayerza not rolling away on that occasion, and referee John Lacey getting to set his stall out nice and early.
It's not the best of starts for Mornay Stade, who's playing for Stade for the first time since the World Cup. He didn't play much for the Box at the World Cup, so he's played very little rugby in recent times, and that penalty not finding touch and allowing Matt Smith and co to bring it back over halfway. And chipped through by Owen Williams. 50th game for the Welshman tonight, already playing his 50th game for Leicester.
You can see him controlling things, trying to get the ball into the outside channel. The important thing for Leicester, though, was that the forward runners coming up the middle are actually running those lines that actually hold defenders, give a little bit of space on the outside. And it means those attacking backs can get their head up and make a decision. And that time, the decision was just nudge it through, play the territory.
Familiar figure of Julien Dupuis, back at the place he knows well, Premiership winner in 09, as well as a losing finalist against Brian and his mates up in Edinburgh that day. Here's Youngs finding Mike Williams, Champions Cup debut for his new club, and with so many in that pack. Williams finding McCaffrey. This is Veronique Gonova. Youngs, to his slightly bigger, older brother. Williams again playing right on the line. He does test defences, as does Tate, ball in hand. Fast feet. Tom Youngs once more. Once again it's Williams. He was looking for Beetham, who was scribing an interesting line.
Well, that's a terrible penalty because the Leicester players did exactly the right thing and no one picked it up apart from the man who made the knock-on, and he's been done for being offside from his own knock-on. There, he knocks the ball on. All the Leicester players, look, I'm not going to pick it up, I'll be offside. And the man who knocked it on is perfectly entitled to recover his mistake and take the scrum that would have come. But as a result, Stade Francais get a brilliant opportunity to attack.
Don't know how much you've got to see of Peter Beetham start of the Premiership season, Brian, but he offers something a little bit different in that Leicester backline.
Yeah, I heard it was a Dean Mum referred to him as having a little bit of razzle-dazzle, and he looks as though he has that little bit of X-factor where he can create spark out of nothing, and he had a nice cameo last week against Exeter, and I'm looking forward to seeing 80 minutes from him today.
Outside. Stade go long. Hooker tonight is Laurent Panis. And this is Williams. They've not held on to it long, and that was loose as well.
No advantage. Knock on.
From me, Johnny.
Yeah.
For the loss off the hand at the line-out.
Just a knock on. No
Fitzgerald
advantage.
putting good pressure on. Still, Stade will be disappointed that that didn't stick. First scrum, a chance to test out a relatively unknown scrum when the likes of Dan Cole and Tom Marcos Oyerts are Tom Youngs and Marcus Ayerza were doing their analysis, they wouldn't have had an awful lot to look at.
The likes of Paul Gabriel standing alongside Pascal Pape in the second row. One of the less familiar faces. Front row of Talaufo, Panis and Adrien Ollion. Leicester might feel that they're going to have the shove in that area, and an early sign that they will. Picked up by Youngs. And will come back for the advantage gained with the dominance at the scrum.
And that's a man who took a lot of criticism around the World Cup. He'll be desperate to set that record straight. He's fired up. Delighted with his first trip back to the scrum school.
He's talking to Marcus Ayerza this week about the French scrums, and he said they're all twists and turns and pushes and pulls and arms and elbows, and at the end of trying to keep it all under control, the referee blows his whistle and points at you and awards a penalty against you. He said it's a bag full of frustration playing against French scrums.
I think a lot of people say the same about Argentinian scrums as well.
Solid line-out set piece to release Gonover in midfield for Leicester. Youngs taken on by Don Barrow, just 22, but the kind of night that he left Newcastle for. And this is Beetham again. Runs onto the ball at pace, provides interesting angles.
Oh, that was real acceleration onto that ball. It's really interesting seeing how this pattern's developing. You know, the forwards at first receiver, I've seen Tom Youngs in there a couple of times, and his passing game seems to have really improved and is allowing width on the outside.
To Stade, picked ahead of Jules Plisson this evening. Not quite got the magic in his fingers that Plisson has, but certainly with the boot he will find plenty of mileage, as he did just then.
Just backing up Brian's point about Leicester's pattern at the moment. All those forward runners being used as a decoy, and the ball being thrown out to the back. At some stage they're going to have to use an option, but perhaps they're just waiting for Stade to be lulled into a false sense of security and then feed a runner as the pink shirts start drifting out, expecting it to go wide.
Yes.
Aaron Panis finding his captain, Sergio Parise. One of two survivors from the teams here that played in the quarter-final in 2007. Already talked about the other, Marcus Ayerza. And he goes in with the tackle. Parise. Oh, and then the burst through the middle, very nearly from Julian Arras. Dupuis. For the first time really in the match, Stade can try and get a little bit of fluency ball in hand, but Sylvain Nicolas was walloped backwards, and
just a knock on.
Ball lost forward off the hand of Mike Fitzgerald, I think it was, and we'll come back for the knock-on.
Johnny on me.
Little indication of the threat that Stade can possess around the breakdown. Julian Dupuis very good. This time it's Arras. And he spots Brendan O'Connor has a little attack at the breakdown, can't win it, so he goes out to guard, but there's no one in behind.
Just wait for the ball.
It's Mike Williams there that potentially should have, no, it's Fitzgerald who should have slotted in, but he's trying to do his job and get to the outside. But because there's no one in around the breakdown for Leicester, Arras spots the opportunity to pick and go through the middle. That's something that Julian Dupuis is outstanding at as well. So pretty sure Leicester and Richard Cockrell will want to make sure that message gets on, that you make sure you have a body blocking that route down the middle.
Okay.
Australian World Cup finalist Will Genia, by the way, arrived this week, but not surprisingly after all the bumps and bruises of the trip to the World Cup final. The debut at Welford Road wasn't necessarily top of his list, so he's being held back. Richard Cockrell had a couple of seasons playing in France, you may remember, with Clermont, although it was that long ago. They were Montferrand back then.
We're so old. We played Montferrand. All right. Actually, I got a victory against Montferrand in Stade Marcel Michelin. That's a bit of a collector's item.
Not many of those around.
They weren't quite the Clermont of the current age.
Picked up by Parise on the gallop. Takes 2 Leicester players to bring him down.
No, play on.
There's good work on the floor, just to hold it up temporarily.
Play on.
This is Gabrilag. And Dupuis patting the shoulder of Brendan O'Connor. And Johnny Lacey says it's Leicester ball. Really trying to play at pace, and decent clear out, releasing it for ERCC, who finds Williams, and this is Lockie McCaffrey. First time in the Champions Cup for him as well.
Stay.
He was with London Welsh last season. He's made a terrific start to his new career here. Looked ahead of Jordan Crane tonight, which is instructive. Williams goes high. Gonover realised for a while that Julian Arias was going to get there first, so he timed his approach carefully.
Yeah.
Driven on by Pape.
Onside.
Hung high by Dupuis. Tate's charging to get underneath this, but tap back basketball style by Parise. A little bit loose, and then Panis.
Play on. Stay.
Arias popping up, and the big hit on Nicolas, who, as we see, remains down. And the ball is lost by Parise. It was being released all a little bit loose early on.
A decent shot coming in here from Mike Williams. Wraps the arm around and then releases the body after the ball's gone.
Brian, you've been looking at patterns.
Yeah, just touching on how Leicester have started off this game. I think the decoy runners that Ben mentioned are running such great lines that they are getting separation between the defenders. It's just the quality of pass that catches Leicester out on this occasion. Matthew Tate gets stuck on the inside shoulder and has to opt to kick through rather than shift it onto the outside channels.
It's instructive to listen to the players who are coming back from the World Cup, like Leonardo Ghiraldini, and he's saying that there's that much more chatter in the team room these days and on the pitch because they're trying to involve the backs and the forwards, perhaps in a way that they've not done for a while.
It's a 50. We were talking about Tom Youngs and his skill set. You've got to be able to, as a front rower, throw 5 and 10 metre passes. You see the All Blacks and the quality of their 15-man game, and now that's the standard that everyone aspires to. And now you can see with Aaron Major, his input, he wants to play that brand.
Not much hooking of the ball there. All about driving over it, and Leicester do. And the ball was out. It wasn't controlled, neither by Dupuis. Leicester will have another go. Adding on to that as well, there's just the demand as we look at Casado from Aaron Major that every player at every phase of play understands where he ought to be on the pitch, where he can best help the next move towards the try line.
And if you're not involved in something, are you getting involved in the next phase? That's the thing. Don't be 2 or 3 phases where you actually find yourself in no man's land. Make sure if you haven't got an involvement now, you're on the move somewhere, or the third phase, you're going to have an important role in that. And the best 10s know the roles of everyone on the team, and they're able to bully people into position.
Picked up by McCaffrey, 2 Youngs, and flung wide by Williams. Beetham provides the link. Gonover coming in off his wing a lot. He is one of those eager for work, eager to make the impact that Brian's talking about. It's strong work on the floor, taking it up to the 22. Leicester, thus far, nothing to show points-wise for all their endeavour. But we can see what they're trying to do. Stray pink shirt in the way, but on Leicester go. Youngs again has a little look to the right where he finds Tate. Back to Youngs. Williams, half thought about the kick, goes on the break himself. Goodness me, he was stepping through a pink forest there, and he very nearly made it all the way to the line. Barrow, Gonover, nicely done. Thompson, the latest in a Leicester shirt to get his hands on it. Tom Youngs. A little bit of help from Ajertza and Cole. All three of the front row to dig that ball back. And you can hear what Welford Road thinks of this. This is a different looking Leicester. This is Leicester with a little bit of adventure in their hands, in their feet. Some real ambition to play with the ball in hand, to test defences. Smith, Beetham! They've got what they deserve. It may well involve a trip up to the TMO though, Ben.
I think he just wants to check Marcos Ajertza and whether he blocks and opens the hole up for Beetham. Has that option runner in front and the ball played out behind.
Simon?
Yes, John?
Yeah, just check please for possible obstruction. But did he commit or was he in a position to make the tackle or not?
We'll review it now, John.
Thank you.
Nick, sometimes the defender in that instance allows themselves to be taken out, and so appeals to the referee when they can in actual fact push off. I don't know in that case, it's a 50-50 call. It could potentially go either way. He probably doesn't make a huge effort to push off, but he isn't really allowed by the line of Ajertza.
No, it's Mornay Stade who
to make the tackle, so it's obstruction. Do you agree? Thank you.
has been scratched off. Marcus Ajertza not allowing Mornay Stade to make the tackle.
I think Mornay Stade was a little bit blindsided looking back at the ball, and then when he looked up, Ajertza was already stood there. I think Ajertza realised, put his hands up, but unfortunately I think if Marcos Ajertza had just moved to the side, he still wouldn't have got there.
Do you know what, I think if he had continued his run through rather than stop it, he would have found himself in a position where he wasn't going to be a blocker, and yet Beetham's pace would have been too much for Stade.
Exactly, but as it was, right decision. You're dead right, Brian. If he just carried on through, there's no way Stade would have been able to match the pace of Beetham, who already had the head start.
Line out snatched and brought to earth very quickly by Nicola.
So just ending that maul too early, so Francais wants to go quick.
Tackled on halfway by Barrow. Dupuy, he has got through. Now there's the threat that Ben talked about that Dupuy carries. Tackle was made by Youngs. Francais once more. Mornay Stade flicked wide by Maya Bosman, another South African. This is Hugo Bonneval. Just starting to use their outside backs for the first time. A little bit of a concern for Julien Dupuy. He's down injured. It looks like he's hurt his left knee by the looks of things, and it looks serious. Leicester penalty meantime.
Driving player on his feet.
Just wondering where the injury happened, or whether it happened when Tom Youngs tackled him during the break, because it was almost, he tried to get back into position, he threw the pass, and then a couple of times he just had a little limp.
Time off, please.
Here's the break, brilliant break, little bit of holding and shepherding of Ben Youngs. Good play by Talalfo. And it's after this he tries to get up and just feels it, and then he goes to the next breakdown and makes the pass and feels it again.
The left ankle that just got caught underneath him there as he went down. That's a shame. It's a major blow for Stade so early on in this contest. He was one of the good guys when he was here, one of their favourites, and Julien Dupuy makes a fairly painful departure for Gonzalo Quesada's team. Julien Thomas is on in his stead, a 30-something now, won a sprinkling of French caps a few years back.
Six.
He'll be with us for the bulk of what's left of this match. Well, it wasn't straight, but it's a Leicester penalty.
Option.
Or is it? No, it wasn't. His arm was in a confusing direction.
Just waving at the players to stop, I think.
Okay. Line-out option taken.
Aaron Major on the left-hand side.
Fairly easy one for both referee and assistant. You see, almost doesn't follow through with the throw there, Tom Youngs. Whether he just hesitated because he thought the players weren't going up. Interesting. Stade go for the line out rather than the scrum with how much pressure they've been under in that
Stay
facet.
now, Pink. Stay.
Again, the speed that Nicola brought that back down. Dupuis with a fairly squiffy kick, and was given up by Brendan O'Connor. He suspected that he was going to be in an offside position, and then Leicester will get the scrum anyway. Very scruffy hands from Stade.
If O'Connor had heard the referee say play on, then he would have known that he was onside, because the referee had obviously decided that it had touched a Stade Francais hand. I think O'Connor's actually right. I think it's Conover who knocks on, but the referee misses it. And as he missed it, O'Connor would have been onside. Referee blindsided.
It's a tricky one as well, Ben, because you want to err on the side of caution. You know, you don't want to give away those silly penalties when you feel as though it was a clear knock-on from your own player.
100% right. It would only be if it heard the referee say play on that he could have reacted, but
both sides.
Especially knowing Richard Cockrell.
Monday morning
in
meetings.
the week he's been here, I think he's probably picked up that vibe.
Crouch! Bind!
Left wing Conover is positioning himself to the right of this scrum, so all of Leicester's chips stacked to the right at the moment, but now Conover is edging towards the left-hand side.
Ben Young's just having a little look, but the ball didn't come out cleanly.
Williams between his legs to Beetham from a standing start, tackled by Paul Williams, Samoan who made friends during his time in the Premiership with Sale. Williams again, taking it right up to the line before engaging Nicola. Once more that chip through. Well, Wales have got some good 10s at the moment, but Owen Williams would have to be in that category.
He's having a very tidy season, all right. Obviously taking advantage of being given the opportunity at number 10 with the injury list at the moment here at Leicester. So, you know, just playing them into the corners, just nudging them forward.
It's Freddie Burns covering from a broken jaw at the moment. Oh, that line-out's been lost, and Youngs with ball that they weren't expecting, but golden ball this is, taken on by Williams. Oh. And then that's lost. And then that's loose. Part of the pitch that looks more like a speedway track. It's actually the in-goal area now, and then it was picked up by Arias. Dirt brown area behind the post because they've extended the pitch by 8 metres here over the summer.
Good decision from O'Connor to step in, because big overlap for Stade Francais here, and Parise, a man who can exploit it.
Driven forward by Jeremy Sanzel. Parise, hauled into touch around his neck, perhaps, by Matt Smith, but
No.
Insistent blow on Johnny Lacey's whistle.
Timing is okay.
Brings it to an end.
Simon, you happy with that?
Just checking with Simon McDowell, the TMO, that tackle was fine.
Yeah, the arm was over the shoulder and down around the chest, I think, but do run the risk there of not being able to stay in control of that grip and it sliding up around the neck. Parise very quick just to get on with things and not moan about it. Real sign of a good quality professional.
Not easy ball. Fitzgerald just got it back, and Beetham has it. Made back by Fitzgerald. Taken on once again by Youngs. Ben Youngs behind the defence. Sanzel chasing back. away by Hugo Bonneval. French international, debuting last year's Six Nations. Actually injured his knee playing for the French in Sydney that summer. Decimated his season. Let's have a word with Richard Cockrell. No points, Richard, but we're enjoying what we're seeing from a Leicester perspective. How about you?
Well, guys. Yeah, just inside.
What are you seeing from Brendan O'Connor in his first 20 minutes as a Leicester player? Thanks, Richard. And there he is, driving it on. Youngs, that's Smith to Youngs again. Just about the ball retention at the moment. Talalfo ploughs over the top of it.
Oh, inside, boys.
There is Stade.
Out green.
Williams. Gathered by Francais. Has been having a look at Peter Beetham's defence. We'll have a look at what he's been looking at in a moment. This is Bonneval. Oh, that was nicely done. Williams very quickly to find Julian Arias, and then back to Bonneval, and then this is Bosman, and then back to Bonneval, and he's held up just short. What a tackle that was. They may yet get the try, and they do. It's Julian Thomas, the replacement. And after all the bright ribbons from Leicester, it's the French who score first.
Well, Brian might be about to talk about Peter Beetham's defence, but it's Nicky Gonover who makes the error on the outside, steps in when he's not needed to. They should just be drifting. He comes up hard, and then he thinks, I'll hinge in. And O'Connor's got that first man all day. They can just drift off, and now really good interplay. Good cover from Gonover, but they take McCaffrey out with the last pass. Tate gets back, and then everyone honeypots towards the ball, which means as the ball bobbles back, it's an easy run over the line, and brilliant counter-attack play by Stade Francais.
Ben, I've just been keeping a quick eye on Matthew Tate, and I just feel he's not moving 100% at the moment. I have watched his full-back play, and he's not a great guy for closing the gate and identifying when his wingers made a bad decision. He plays in the backfield a huge amount. That was an opportunity for him to close much earlier than he did and cut off that 2-on-1 that eventually caught them. So just interesting to keep an eye on him maybe for the next couple of minutes, whether he is carrying some sort of niggle.
Time big. Mornay Stain remains pointless in a Stade Francais shirt. None just yet this season, but that was some riposte from the Parisians.
Yeah, fantastic interplay. Been lauding Leicester's patterns. Stade haven't managed to get any patterns going, but the threat of what they have out wide, their ability to keep the ball alive when they get the opportunity, all too obvious to Welford Road fans now.
Williams drops the restart just outside the 22. It's taken by the French skipper.
Tom Youngs has gone underneath that maul and got all the way to the back. He's nearly on the ball now. He's on the ball.
Inside, boys.
Thomas to Stade. Put under pressure there. And then picked up by Tate on the bounce. To Youngs, to Smith. Smith charging on his own. Had Williams up in support, but he decided to run into the green open space. Williams launches it long to Beetham. There's a whole cavalry on the right-hand side. Ajertza gets it away to O'Connor, but it went forward.
So often, Nick, you know, it's a real pet hate of coaches of when you have numbers over not going through the hands, of just throwing in those missed passes when it's not necessary. And in this occasion, it must have been 6 on 3 or 6 on 4.
6 on 2, I think you find when it gets out there, Brian. And that long ball picks out the wrong man. But here, look at all those pink shirts concertinaed in. Now,
that wasn't the issue. It's the second one, and he's just, if you go through the hands there, commit the defender, and it's very, very simple.
So it wasn't the Owen Williams pass.
No, that was great.
It was the Beetham pass.
That was a great one, because if you actually look at the if we see it played back, the defender actually bites right in, and there's a huge hole in the centre of the field. It's the next pass from Beetham when he skips out 2 players when he needed to just simply go to the man next to him.
Yeah, here. Here we go.
This was the pass that opened up some space.
That's the OK one, but there you can see Matthew Tate. That goes through the hands. He'll probably accelerate through the gap and then just commit the last defender and be able to pass to 2 or 3 players on his outside.
Once again, Leicester taking some chips off that block. Beyond Thompson, into the arms of Tate. Thompson up in support. Smith, with Arias having a little sniff around. Youngs, cleverly to Williams. Once more it's Beetham. This is McCaffrey, and this is Gonover. Fitzgerald was the first receiver.
Stay down. 10. I know it is.
Obstruction in midfield.
Obstruction. He is on, yes, thank you very much. Shot. Obstruction.
The juggle of the pass cost the timing of the runner, and by the time Owen Williams had made a decision, he'd already passed by and run that decoy line into the defender. A bit unfortunate. Just took his eye off the ball at the pivotal moment and made him have a second bite at it.
I'm sure that Mornay Stade knows that this pitch has been lengthened over the summer, and what would have been a 50-metre kick in the old days is probably more of a 53-54-metre kick here, but we know the dynamite that this man has in his boot. Millimetres, and on the high felt of the East Midlands, Mornay Stade bangs over another 3.
Classic European away from home rugby. Let the home side play all the rugby and just capitalise on mistakes. Be confrontational. Stade now in a really good position to turn the screw.
There have been so many aspects of the Leicester game to admire as Beetham goes in and concedes the penalty. A lot of aspects to admire, but the scoreboard tells its own story.
It's just a penalty for me. He's still in the air, just be careful. Just a penalty, skipper. He's just in the air. He didn't follow through yet.
Bonneville, the fullback, who went in to gather.
Just tackle in the air. Yeah. Time off, please. Okay? Just a penalty, okay? Time on, please.
Champions Cup up and running, and we are at the Gardens tomorrow evening. Northampton against the Scarlets. Before then, by the way, in the Challenge Cup, Gloucester against Zebra here on BT Sport. And then Sunday, clear the decks. Dublin, RDS, Leinster against Wasps, Sunday lunchtime. Bordeaux-Begler against Claremont. And then we are heading down to Stade Felix Maillot for the first ever meeting between Toulon and Bath. No reason to looking to do anything else on Sunday. So much to look forward to this weekend, opening weekend, the European competition on BT Sport. Taken on by Nicola. Leicester burgle it back. Now Williams and Smith running hard and straight into Williams, who's a hefty obstacle. The speed of Nicola coming up forces the error, and this is Pape. try scorer, Julien Thomas, who will be just with us, has taken the place of the injured Dupuis. Gonover brought it away for Leicester. Fitzgerald, meantime, to Williams. This will be chased by Mike Williams. Gathered by Bonneval. Thompson trying to do some clear out, but it's to no avail. Picked up by Patrick Seo. Scott Seo's brother. Part of the Wallaby effort last the World Cup. And away by Mornay Stade.
I was speaking before about the action of the forward runners in midfield and how they can hold defenders. Carrying from Matt Smith all day, but here if the forward runners hold defenders better, if they have a bit more depth and run onto the ball, Stade can't get that line speed up, and there's a huge overlap on the outside for Leicester, but because those forward runners don't hold anyone, they can fly out of the line and target the man who gets the ball and stop the ball getting out to where they're weak defensively.
That didn't look entirely straight, but on we go. This is Gonover. Youngs to beat them on the bounce. Held up by Bosman, who was quickly over the ball, but he in turn was driven back. This is Don Barrow. Change to the Leicester side. Tom Croft pulling out with back spasms before the kick-off. That's the tenacity of Stade's defence at the moment that's drawn one or two handling errors from Leicester, forcing them to rebuild again from deep. This is Lockie McCaffrey. Teti Fanua will be out until the new year with his fractured arm, so Crane and McCaffrey will be busy at 8. Hugo Bonneval.
Nick, I think Leicester have been guilty of being a little bit over-elaborate at times rather than just running hard. Yeah, we were talking about simple through the hands backline plays, but they just need to go run direct, 2-on-1, fix the man.
And here goes Gonover this way and that, and scores the try. And as much as Gonover gets the try, that's the first significant contribution of Brendan O'Connor as a ferret on the floor.
Probably an indication that the majority of the Leicester team went over to congratulate O'Connor on the turnover before they went to Nicky Gonover. It is that poacher's instinct that he makes the tackle and he just sort of hangs around. He feels it's just a tackle, he can stay in there, he's straight over the ball. The Stade players will say, well, the ruck was formed, the referee said it wasn't, and then it was just a case of picking off runners, confusing them. And you can see Arias doesn't know which way to turn. He's already got his back to the first defender, and someone you really don't want to have your back to when you're trying to get round the right way to make a tackle is Nicky Gonover.
Try here against Wasps the last time they were at Welford Road, and he weaved his way to the line there, but it was all about the spade work of Leicester's new Kiwi 7, Brendan O'Connor. Midlander now after 3 seasons in Auckland with the Blues. And there was a feeling over the summer, Ben, with all the signings, lots of signings, particularly in the pack, that O'Connor might be one of the special ones. Between the posts and into the new stand that's taking shape. Hard work over the first 35 minutes for Leicester, and they have their first points.
Yeah, McCaffrey does well to hold on to the ball, just to add that element of confusion for Arias. And then Gonover makes good decisions as soon as he receives it, to almost cut back into the man as he's trying to turn.
Six hours of rugby under his belt now for Gonover, and he's 5 tries between them as a team. Taken by McCaffrey. Throw approaching the final 5 minutes of fascinating first 40.
Yeah.
A lot from Leicester, but even more points-wise from Stade, who have really taken their chances. It's head coach Gonzalo Quesada, Argentinian, 15 years as a player and coach in France now. Guided Stade to the title this year, and alongside him you may recognise Simon Raiwalui. I think that's probably a bench meant for 5 folk, but when Raiwalui is there, there's only room for 1 more.
15.
Youngs, O'Connor, Smith, and this is Beetham, herring away, Gonover up in support. And then Parise charging down on Youngs, and the ball was lost forward in the tackle only by Parise.
McCaffrey's just Ben Youngs saying that he was shoved in behind, and he was trying to make the clear out, which would have presented that man getting to Ben Youngs. The overthrow caused by a little bit of pressure in front, good hands straight away to get it wide. Brilliant little delayed pass round the back from Matt Smith. And that's McCaffrey, but he needs to stay up there, and I'm pretty sure that Sergio Parise would have got to Ben Youngs regardless.
Indication, I think, of the pace that the game's being played at by both teams, those handling errors, and 14 already between them.
Go Stade. Step out here. Reset.
From
No stability.
Memorable World Cup for him.
There's the mark.
He hurt his hamstring before that third place playoff, so couldn't take part in that, but he's slap bang in the middle of it tonight.
The referee just come back to have a look at this side. It was Molion that rolled in field. He wants to see who's going in field first, which outside arm is going back towards their inside knee.
Bind! Set!
Johnny Lacey being pushed out of the way by Youngs, and this is Youngs. And now goes Williams as Leicester search for the score that would give them the lead at half-time. Tate, fast feet. Arias is there making the tackle, but it's still Leicester possession. Leicester with the penalty. Youngs, this is Thompson, Tate beyond him, O'Connor beyond him, and O'Connor goes in to make sure it's still Leicester ball. Taken forward by Barrow. Mike Williams, that close. Youngs. McCaffrey. Is there to be a score to take the lead before the break? Tom Youngs, that close. To the grassless golden zone as far as Leicester are concerned. Williams to Gonover, he's got Smith beyond him. Scores! Patience, perseverance, and before half-time for Leicester, the lead.
Well, if you want to see the impact of that man on the left, Aaron Major, it's in that try. In the years, seasons gone by, last 3 or 4 seasons, these forwards would have carried into contact and try and gone themselves. But they hold the pink shirts, they give it out into the backfield, and then they get one-on-one opportunities for the likes of Nicky Gonover, who has a little dart and then uses Matt Smith's power on the outside. But that try was all made by the fact that the forwards didn't just put their head down and go for the line, where they would have been smashed by pink shirts in front of them. They played with some intelligence and looked to the outside channel, and they get a 5-pointer as a result of it.
Took some finishing as well.
It really did, and you know, that's what you got in Matt Smith. You've got a very, very powerful ball carrier. It gets you gain line, and obviously from 5 yards out against a smaller defender, he's going to back himself. But just on Ben's point, I actually felt as though Leicester had the capabilities of scoring about 3 or 4 phases earlier, they ended up zigzagging a little bit rather than working Stade around the corner, committing defenders, and then they simply would have run out of numbers. Whereas Ben Youngs went against the grain and back into guys that just got up off the ground. So maybe just something, just they need to work them a little bit harder because they're starting to get a little bit lazy.
Just drifts away, but Leicester will bank what has been a very profitable final 5 or 10 minutes of that first half. Julien Thomas with the counter-attacking strike for the French, Gonover and Smith for Leicester before half-time. The World Cup was a lot of fun. We enjoyed it. My goodness, it's good to have Europe back. Half-time, Ali Williams preparing to give up the left.
You'd be having fun as well, Nick, if you knew you were going to be one of the best paid players in the world.
What size collar do you think Logaviti Mullapola has?
Time on, please.
I think these shirts must be specially made. They're having fun, as are we. Hope you are as well. 40 minutes left of this Friday night at Welford Road. And we're all thrilled to see Europe back with us. Landed in the arms of Francais, but he was being challenged by Thompson. Oh, and it's picked up by O'Connor, who's going to score! Thompson cleverly, and the try's given.
Brilliant play from Adam Thompson. He ran a fantastic line. Once he stays behind the player, he's entitled to run a support line. If he gets in front of him, that's interference. But fantastic play if he hasn't overrun him.
Sergio Francais is going berserk, and we are going to check.
Just check for an obstruction, please.
We'll review it now, we'll put it on the screen.
Thank you.
Nothing wrong with that for me, Nick.
He only goes in front after the push, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
Seems he's running in a perfectly natural position to be to gather the ball. He knows what's going on, but Mornay Stain is the one who then runs
The
into
only
it.
thing that could do for him is if O'Connor breaks too hard.
And he's just run into him, so I'm going to award a try.
Yeah, yes, I agree. The red players pushed the green player.
What a debut Brendan O'Connor's making. He's enjoyed a 20-metre run to the line with the roar of Welford Road in his lugolls. What a start to this second half for Leicester. And they've got 3 tries already.
He'll be patting Adam Thompson on the back when he looks at that replay. Thompson controlling his speed as well, just making sure that he had eyes both on the defender coming over and O'Connor on his outside.
Have to make do with the 5 points.
Thompson involved initially in the kick chase, and then look at his eyes, look at him scanning both the man on his left, and he knows exactly what he's doing. He braces himself for the contact.
Time on, please.
Now that puts Leicester in a position where 41 minutes into the game they're chasing a bonus point.
Stade have made a change in the front row. Rabat Slimani on to replace Adrien Ollion. Stade holding Slimani back for the second half, and they've been forced into an early change, perhaps by the adventure of Leicester's start to this period. Ajerts is chasing this, and so is Thompson again, and Bonneval did well under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, good mark. Everyone stood still, the ball didn't go 10 metres, but it's Leicester's prerogative to play it anyway. O'Connor reacted quickest, and the Stade players didn't react to him.
Youngs to Williams to Tate on his bike. Nicely done by Beetham, and ball spilt.
Good advantage. Advantage for the knock on.
This is Paul Gabriellag starting ahead of Alexandra Flancard, but we've got a glimpse of Flancard warming up, so looks like he won't be far away.
Knock on red.
Tink knock on, but on we go. Oh, and that's intercepted, but we'll come back for the knock on. And frustration, disappointment for Jeremy Sanzel.
Knock on red. We'll tell you he knew he had a freebie. Bit of a speculator, but you know, if it goes to hand, if Arias doesn't read that, it's not Arias, but if the Stade player doesn't read that perfectly, it's 3 around the corner against a very soft defence. Sinzel on that occasion.
The only real confusion from that passage of play is how the officials can mistake pink for red.
Thank you.
It's pink.
No ball, Johnny, no ball.
No ball, guys, no ball. No.
Oh, my eyes really are starting to play up.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
So Stade scrum with Rabat Slimani weighing anchor on that right-hand side. Williams again to beat them. This is Tate. Ricocheting off the boot of Sanzel.
Stay green 4.
And then backpedaling. Arias, the ball, the bounce of was not kind. And it might yet work for Leicester. Fitzgerald nearly onto it.
Use it!
Leicester with 4 players back waiting for the kick. Opportunities counter-attack. Gonova coming back as well now.
Finally cleared away by Thomas.
You get the impression, Nick, that Leicester are 1 score away from breaking this Stade team. You know, history will show, you know, teams, particularly French teams that go behind, if they go behind a couple of scores, they can throw the towel in. Leicester can get their bonus point. They could get 5 or 6 today easily.
It's only been a 5-day turnaround as well, Brian, since they beat Clermont on the Sunday. They made lots of changes, I think, with half an eye on that. And as hard as the likes of Parise and co are working.
It is interesting hearing before the game, Gonzalo Quesada talking about the 14 injuries they do have, and he said, I don't want to make excuses, but is he just, you know, softening things a little bit for himself with an eye on, you know, a home performance next week?
Taken by Fitzgerald.
No, pull back.
Tape bursts through the middle. This is Barrow. Late replacement for Tom Croft, who withdrew with a back spasm.
Offside 2.
Leicester have a penalty. Panis offside.
Advantage offside.
And knowing that, Youngs with a kick to nothing for Adam Tombstone.
It's a little bit of a case of what Brian was talking about in the first half, that the area that Leicester seeming to struggle most with is when they're in midfield. Yes, they had the freebie and they knew that was a shot to nothing for Ben Youngs. But when they're in midfield, the forwards have carried it up. Just that decision making.
What's the best way to restart slow ball in midfield in that kind of situation where you feel like you've got jammed up?
It's the keep on going. It's that cog pattern that a lot of teams that you'll hear teams refer to. And sometimes it takes you 2 rooks to generate fast ball. You can't immediately expect on a slow ruck ball to generate fast ball off 1 rook. Sometimes it takes 2, 3, 4 phases, but it's the same way, making sure that defence has to fold around the corner, and then when you come back at them, you know, the numbers have been cut down. It's been a really good 20 minutes for Leicester, either side of half-time, from
8-0 down to 28 up. Got the man of the match against Toulon last season, Owen Williams. On the back largely of the 20 points he scored then. Cries of offside as the pink wave blew over halfway. At the moment, everything is going Leicester's way. That is a brilliant clearance from Owen Williams.
There's the forward pack running back for that. Now they get an opportunity to run on and put some pressure on this Stade line out. A couple of little wobbles in the first half. They've had turnovers. Here's the line out options. You see those reds are the misses. Haven't been able to hit when they've gone long. Go to the middle. Leicester fans don't think it was straight.
Three moves!
Thomas goes long. Gonover taps it under his arm, and on he goes, and he reaches halfway. Wonderful run from Veronique Gonover. Thomas trying to claw it back over the top, but look where it's gone. That's gone forward, however. There's enough to keep Leicester grounded, despite the ambition of their play. There's enough going on for them to work on as well.
Brilliant counter-attack from Gonover. Loves a broken field. And as the players step in to try and get to him, he wrong foots them. Stepping 90 degrees against the grain.
Brilliant ball presentation as well. You know, sometimes the Fijian boys are sometimes accused of being loose with their carries and looking for silly offloads, but he got a brilliant presentation, long arm, and gave a great target for the guys rooking over the ball for fast ball for Ben Youngs.
Say that was the most impressive thing about Fiji in the World Cup. All those things that we say Fiji aren't very good at, they were brilliant at, not flying out of the line to make tackles, and their defensive structure was superb during the whole tournament.
Out of patience with Ijertza by the looks of things. Free kick taken quickly. This is Bonneval, the fullback. Very nearly got through. He's got a halfway. Taken on by Pat Seo, debut this season, 21-year-old from Sydney. Scott's brother, as we were saying, and the ball away quickly by Bosman to Arias. Taken on by Laurent Panis, who's just 22. Another responsibility on the shoulders of the young hooker tonight.
Terrific line speed there from Leicester, shutting down the outside options.
Arias tackled by Brendan O'Connor, who's having some debut. On Stade. Bosman to Sanzel. On we go. Now this is Slimani, who's developed a reputation for scoring tries recently. That was really nicely done to link up with Bosman. Much more like it from Stade for the first time in this second half. And again, Thomas grabbed around by O'Connor. Bonneval providing the link. This is Talalfo. Young's holding on. Here goes Panis. Thomas. Maybe Stade aren't about to fold. What a score would do for the complexion now. Oh, wonderfully done. Out of the back by Parise, and the try is scored. Oh my goodness, they've constructed that beautifully.
Well, just a superb score. Not panicking. Good decisions made. Lovely little offload as Tom Youngs went for the intercept. And then stands up, they're in behind, they don't panic.
Thank you.
And then ball into Parise's hands, he offloads out the tackle there, and then he'll do it much more dynamically later on. Talalfo keeps the ball alive. But then as they come back from this phase, they target Parise. He gets the fend out with his right hand into the throat, gives him enough time to get out the back door. And then the support play, superb from Williams.
Well, the work of Parise, of course, but also of Nicola, the man who took the ball and had work to do to find Williams. Much better. We were wondering whether Stade might be about to pack their hand luggage for the trip back home, but this suggests otherwise. Samoan Williams, who played in that Samoa Barbarians match at the Olympic Stadium before the World Cup. Here goes Talalfo, another Samoan. 4 years with Wasps before he left for Paris.
Stade.
Julien Thomas to Mornay Stade. Not what he was looking for, nowhere near the distance. 3 rugby titles to his name in the Southern Hemisphere, Super Rugby titles. The Bulls in Pretoria. This is his first start for Stade since the World Cup. Doesn't look like we're going to see Alexandre Flanquer and his mates for a while. Line out. Rescued by Cole. Barrow, who's run straight and hard whenever he's had the opportunity. Williams, pass high above his head, but quick footwork got him beyond the attempted hit of Parise. And this is O'Connor. Slimmening over the top, and he needed some clearing out. And the penalty in the end goes against the prop, and Leicester take it quickly. Youngs for the line in the bonus point, and they have a fourth try. We've not played an hour.
Magnificent from Ben Youngs. You know, it's the sort of thing that is synonymous with his game. You know, playing and thinking a little bit quicker than everyone else, identifying that Stade hadn't even retreated 5 meters. Quick tap, and no one could touch him, knowing that he had a free run of things.
You see Slimani goes off his feet, that's what the penalty's for. But while Slimani's arguing, Ben Youngs takes advantage. Look, Parise's in there arguing as well, and Youngs has gone. But the quality of Leicester's clearing out in the phases leading up to that had put Stade onto the back foot, maybe taken a little bit out of them, and the focus had gone. And as Ryan said, they didn't retreat. Ben Youngs is exactly what he's looking for. Every time there's a penalty, he looks at the opposition, and if they're not going back, he goes.
European debut 8 years ago now, as an 18-year-old.
It's incredible. He seems to have been around for an eternity. But you know, I would say in the last year or 18 months, he's been playing some of his best rugby, back to his very early days, and he's been a real threat. Albeit England didn't have a fantastic World Cup, he still looked the real part.
Bends it onto the target once again, and Leicester restore their dozen-point lead. Consternation of Slimani. While he was feeling sorry for himself, this was happening.
Referees tend not to change the decisions, you know. Immediately retreat 5-10 meters where you can, and then you can challenge the refereeing decision.
You'll have seen the Stade change. One World Cup lock replaced by another. Pape giving way to Flanquer. Parise positioning himself under this, but he was being harried by Thompson. Thompson's been working hard on the wing, chasing those kicks, making sure that moments like this become possible. McCaffrey. Barrow providing the link to release Beetham. Here goes Gonover. There'll be one or two Leicester fans around here tonight rubbing their eyes, checking that this is the team they watched last season.
Well, there's a physicality about them at the breakdown, which is allowing them to get on the front foot and get the ball out wider. Yes, there's a mindset to go there, but you can't just go wide without doing the hard bits of the job as well, and Leicester's clear-out has been superb tonight.
There's another opportunity as Tom Youngs takes it to ground. It's Fitzgerald, one of those who's added a real physicality, just a hint of the high, but we're good to go on. Pass was good to McCaffrey. Ajertse. Very much he's enjoyed being back with his clubmates this week. Williams, as Leicester continue to press.
Nick, one thing that's impressed me about Leicester is their ability to sever the defensive line, particularly the forwards. Rather than stepping off their outside foot and coming back towards the ruck, they're stepping off their inside foot and trying to get out to the third or fourth defender, and therefore making more numbers fold around the corner. Really impressive, clever football.
Yes, bright minds, but allied with that muscle as well. There is a physicality that we've not seen from Leicester for a while, provided by the likes of Fitzgerald and Williams.
They sort of go hand in hand though, because if you are running those intelligent lines, the opposition can't get a shot on you, they can't get any line speed, so it makes it a lot easier as a forward to dominate physically if you're going forward to the breakdown.
I tell you, Don Barrow's had a good night. He wasn't expected to start this, but he's let nobody down. Replaced by Ed Slater, and Tom Youngs gives way for Giraldini.
Yeah, I think Tom Youngs has been fantastic for that first, for the first hour. He was brilliant in his delivery early on, but then he carried really hard as well. He's a guy that gives you a great gain line. Doesn't get turned over very often either. So a real workmanlike performance from him.
Stade Francais have made a temporary return in the second row for Pascal Papé. Paul Gabrielac has gone off to the blood bin, so it's that French second row reunited in Stade colours, Papé and Flankard. Dropping the elbow in the front row. Marcus Ajer, it's exactly what he was talking about in the build-up to this. Lots of twisting and pushing and pulling and shoving, and in the end it's him who gets penalised. And he's absolutely furious.
He's trying to walk away from the referee to calm down. I think he thinks he might say something he might regret.
A word, please.
Obviously incensed by that decision. That's the front row for you, isn't it? They could be winning, they could get the bonus point, but if they lose a scrum, it's the worst thing in the world. It's a little bit lowy, but there he's saying that arm is, if the opposition player is on his armpit and he rolls him down. Exactly what he's saying to the referee.
Johnny Lacey made the mistake of going up to Dan Cole and saying, have a word, and Dan Cole gave him a barrel load back and said, I think he's absolutely right, Johnny. Don't think Dan Cole is going to be the envoy that the Irish referee had hoped for.
16 away.
Ben Youngs, replaced by Sam Harrison. Scorer of Leicester's fourth and bonus point securing try. A bit of work to do before we can say it's a bonus point and a winning effort. And here comes Waisea Nayatalevu, 6'5" and 15 stones from the Fijian winger.
Sorry?
I remember him playing on the right wing against England on the opening night at Twickenham.
Stand that side, both of you.
Life for Leicester's defence won't get any quieter with him on the pitch.
I'll have a look at that and make sure that's up. My opinion on that one, your elbow is down first, but
Looks like he's gone into the outside centre berth, Brian.
Oh. So it's days like today that I'm so glad I'm sitting 20 foot up into the stands when you see 6'5" facing you.
Yeah, he's replaced Paul Williams, Naif Alebu.
Away, Green!
Oh, it's a great turnover.
Ball still there to be won by Leicester, and it was.
Stade 21.
Kick clearance from Smith. Yeah, so correction, it's Maya Bosman who's given way for Naif Alebu. Paul Williams is still out there.
Williams just slotting into the inside centre berth. We've talked a lot about O'Connor, but McCaffrey has had a really good season for Leicester. Surprised a lot of the fans here. Leicester almost operating with those two open sides, with both of them on the field. It was such a success for Australia during the World Cup.
Francais held up by Ed Slater. Let's see Slater back doing his stuff for the first time this season. Missed the bulk of last season with a knee injury, and again Leicester with the fort work on the floor. Half a dozen turnovers now, leading to this from Tate. Harrison, replacement to Giraldini, another replacement. First time we've seen the Italian in a Tiger shirt after his World Cup. Leicester penalty. Tapsio thought he was within his rights, referee thought otherwise. And Gabriel Eggs coming back to rejoin us, and John O'Ross as well. Whether they come on before this defensive line-out remains to be seen. John O'Ross closest to us. They look keen to get on.
I can't hear you, you'll have to speak up.
And indeed, here they come.
Yes, got 5.
The penalty came as a combination of the Stade player not rolling away, but also getting trapped in by Leicester players, knowing exactly what they were doing, trying to draw a penalty from the referee. The picture players, as tacklers, have to show is a concerted effort to get out of there and get out fast, and he didn't do that early enough in the eyes of John Lacey.
Time is off now.
Kind of assume that they decided to make that change before the penalty, but it is Seo who's gone.
Just worth noticing who's at the front of this line-out. Nicky Gonover, not known for his salmon jumping ability, but just keeping Talalfo occupied and not able to go in and help. Now Talalfo's gone in, there's an advantage to Leicester being played. They've got a free shot at this.
Harrison's scrabbling forward at the back.
Yeah, it's advantage.
Yeah, there's a penalty coming off the back of this.
Number 4 in the side-on, is it?
Slater taking it on. Penalty's going against Gabriel, who's only just come back on. Ajertse. Leicester off in search of try number 5. Harrison. Now the cross kick. Oh, dear me.
I think Williams heard the referee say still advantage. Thought that advantage might go fairly soon. And tried to put the Hail Mary up. Give a one-on-one for a jump in the air. Not accurate enough. Penalty for coming in at the side.
Yes. Let's go.
Jordan Crane coming on to replace Brendan O'Connor, and I think when the crowd here realise that O'Connor's night is done, he's going to get some ovation.
Pretty impressive start of things to come. Yeah, the sort of 7 that Leicester probably been crying out for but potentially England as well. A guy that's English qualified, I'm sure. Whoever the new coach for England will be keeping a keen eye in Welford Road and Leicester in the near future.
I think Richard Cockrell was trying to keep that one secret.
Ball taken in by Williams. Beetham having his beef. Ajertza making sure that Harrison knows he's there. Geraldini, Slimani with the hit.
Use it!
Now it's Crane. It's only been on a matter of seconds.
Use it!
Cole will launch this next phase to Fitzgerald. Slater getting back in position. Here he is now. Thompson's waiting far right, but they go left with Ajertza. Crane once more. There's a thud on the door. The ball was loose and Slimani very nearly disrupted things. Now Williams. Nicola doing his best to haul it back for Stade Francais, but it's still Leicester's. It's Crane again. A lot of possession, not a great deal of meterage. Still it's Thompson waiting far right, and now it's a Stade penalty.
Arriving player, release the ball. Okay.
Leicester a little bit of danger of losing their support. A couple of players stepping back inside. It's an area they've been really strong on during this game. A few substitutions have come on and disrupt things.
I think Laurent Panis isn't long for this. He's going to be replaced by Zurab Vania.
Time is off, guys. Yeah, I know, it's off, Marcus.
Missed out on Georgian World Cup squad despite playing for them over the summer. But he comes on, and also interesting for Leicester, the Leicester change. As Leonardo Geraldini gets a little bit of treatment, Mateus Aguero is readying himself. Italian World Cup prop who's been hastily registered this week for the competition. Tempted over from Zebre, and Aguero.
Yes, please.
Yeah, Tommy Young's coming back on. Geraldini obviously had that problem at the World Cup, whether that's flared up again.
Wait, guys, still off.
As a result of that change, perhaps Leicester just holding back Aguero for the time being. That line-up was fired in. Too much. Youngs, Williams to Crane. Here goes Beetham.
Off feet, no.
Still Stade defence up quickly. Tate. Here goes Slater. Just great to see him back doing his stuff again. Awful season last season with injuries. Sylvain Nicola, meantime, is receiving some treatment, so Stade a man down. Leicester looking for the space that must exist. Somewhere in that pink line. Underneath the powder blue headgear is Jordan Crane. Youngs. Thought he'd clocked off for the night. Harrison. Crane was there as well, and still they come with Ajertza. Williams. Gonover, one-handed on the bounce, picked up brilliantly by Tate. This is Thompson. And that ball's been slashed backwards by Stade. Paul Williams runs into Tate. Taken up by Ross. Dupuis, Terise back into the traffic to the newly restored Sylvain Nicola. Nath Levu provides the link to Bonneville, gets it away, but the ball was forward.
It was a foot in touch, actually, Nick.
Yeah, Bonneville fired out of play.
Time
Might
off,
be a
please.
worry for Gonzalo Casado, won't it?
Yeah, just deal an
See
injury here first.
Bonneville struggling with an injury. Nicolas earlier on, as Owen Williams stepped out of the tackle, seemed to injure his elbow.
Green 1.
It's Mike Fitzgerald who's down as
Number
the
7 and number 1 here. 7 pink.
arrival of Aguero finally happens.
Number 1 green.
3 seasons as a Saracen,
Number 1
started
green.
his career as a Tiger.
Nick, we have the luxury of the slow-mo here. It looks as though Bonneville managed to offload the ball just in time before the tackle was complete. Thousandths of a second, very difficult to the naked eye to call it. I think the touch judge got it wrong on this occasion.
14 green. Just 1 second, guys.
So it's Veyanu joining us as Ajertza gives up his place for Aguero. Adam Thompson heads the other way. He's worked very hard tonight, Thompson, chasing kicks.
He's a good player. I've kept a keen eye on him over the last few weeks, and he's a powerful runner, but he does an awful lot of work. Really works well in tandem with his fullback as well. Big, energetic performance from him.
Well, that's nicely done by McCaffrey. Leicester seem to have spent an awful lot of time in this area of the pitch over the last 10 minutes without necessarily adding to the scoreboard.
Mike Williams has had a big game as well, hasn't he, doing the hard yards.
Oh, that's nice from Harrison. Where's he going? Taking a little meander along the set. Ross has to give it best. Crane makes a couple of inches. Driven on again. Well, the ball's loosened. Slimani drives forward.
Go straight down in your hands. Interfere with the ball.
Good decision. We've seen the referees, particularly the World Cup, very hot on that. You must attack the ball straight away. You can't put your hands past the ball and rest on the grass and then come back onto it as the clear-out comes in.
Penalty was against Dani Priso, 21-year-old debut for the club this season.
Okay.
He has an initial bite, Ben, and he's entitled to the first go. The second go, arms beyond the ball, but as well he's not taking his own body weight. Again, an easy penalty because it's a bad picture for the referee.
Leicester into the 30s, heading towards their biggest score of the season so far, in their biggest match of the season so far. 30 points to 15.
Time off. Is he off the field? Time on.
Meantime, Josiah Rasuk has come on. Has that gone 10 metres? Went 8, and it was picked up by the number 8.
Not the first time either. Very frustrating. Bruce chasing after it.
Scrum.
Champions Cup continuing tomorrow here on BT Sport. We're at the Gardens for the Saints against the Scarlets tomorrow evening. Before that, by the way, in the Challenge Cup, Kingsholm Gloucester against Zebra. And what a day we have for you on Sunday. Starting in Dublin at the RDS, Leinster against Wasps, Bordeaux Begler against Clermont, BT Sport 2 HD, and then Stade Felix-Mile for Toulon against Bath. Some way of spending your Sunday afternoon.
Set.
Just looking at this scrum here, it's a 4 on 2.5, so Leicester need to go left. That's the option. Unfortunately, the scrum is disintegrated, and They have managed to retain possession.
Stay, Green. Stay!
Williams. It's a studied kick. Suk.
Inside spiral, not an easy thing to do.
Sanzel, I'm sure, will tell us that that's exactly what he wanted. Williams exploring some space out to the left where he finds Beetham. And taken forward by Fitzgerald, who really can motor. But Williams as well. This is the new man, Aguero, on his debut. Feels like Leicester have been knocking on a door for that 5th try for quite a while. Gonover, who's got one of the 4 they've scored so far. Harrison. Slater hit backwards. Aguero. Here's some man to be able to bring in late in the day. 2 injuries at loose head prop. And bring in Italy's World Cup loose head. Williams nearly goes through the gap. Read by Thomas. Hard work from Youngs to clear that ball.
Really good from Williams, not only to keep it in, but put it back into a zone where he thought a Leicester player might be able to pick it up and continue this attack.
Yeah, the turnover was good.
Use it! Yeah.
Ross, South African, fresh from barging over for what turned out to be the winning try against Clermont last Sunday in Paris. Mornay Stade, and smart work to release Rasuk. Picked up by Thomas once more. Parise provides the link. Flancard, Leicester offside in their haste to get up in defence. Playing on again, Rasuk. Driven forward by Arias, he's got one man to beat, and I think he scored that. Short of the line, but he was able to stretch and score.
Yeah, I think he does it. It's
Forward
just
back there.
whether his backside touches line. Let's have a listen.
Okay. Time off, Simon, you got me?
Yes, Johnny. We'll have a
Simon, I
review
just need
now.
to check the final pass up here and then try yes or no. Yeah. Pass looked good to me, Simon.
The grounding's good. It's just whether this pass is forward.
Doesn't come clean out of his hand, but
It doesn't.
Yeah, you get the man.
It's Rasuk with the pass.
Bring it back to Stew.
This might be the one to tell us.
I've looked at it on a wider angle, and for me, it's absolutely fine, the pass. And then, yes, I think he gets it down. Maybe look from behind.
Just wonder whether his heels might be a little bit of an issue.
John, the pass is fine. Let's have a look at the grounding.
Simon, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
The pass is okay. We're going to have a look at the grounding now.
Yes, I agree with the pass.
So it's just whether his backside clips the line, because everything else for me is fine with the grounding.
Simon, just to let you know, I have no view from here.
I'm pretty sure it's a try. There's nothing from that angle. What about his feet? Does anything touch the ground? I don't think they do. This is the best angle.
This is the one that'll tell us, and I think it's just about the feet. And I think, well,
benefit of the doubt has to go with the attacking team.
Just the last one.
Just one more look, John.
Just that bottom foot as they slide over the
Speak up
line.
as well, so
The ball's down.
His
Not
left,
yet,
his
not
left
yet.
calf.
He's checking.
There.
Simon
I
McDowell's the TMO.
I think it's down by the time.
John,
Yes?
we
you
see
may
him
award the
actually
try.
crossing the
Thank you.
sideline.
That took a little bit of time, and he spilled a little bit of blood. But Arias has scored the try for Quesada's team, and it means we're going to have an interesting final 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, the intensity's dropped off from Leicester. A few people falling off tackles.
Yeah.
Maybe understandably thought they'd won the game.
Yeah, okay.
Top carrier in the match, fly half Owen Williams. And that's going to be replaced by Jeremiah Bai, who we assume might not play at fly half.
Okay.
Whether that had gone over or not, they'd have still needed one more kick to move within losing bonus point range.
See that pick-up, absolutely crucial. The pass, as we saw, was okay, and then goes inside just to create room for that outside arc. Just gives himself enough room to get there.
Time is on, Reece.
He's the only survivor from the back line that last played here, a back line that included the likes of Hernandez, Stefan Glass, Dominici, T-Shot. He's 32 now, but he's a try scorer this evening. Confirmation that Jeremiah Bai is on for Owen Williams. Williams needs to be picked up by Bonneval. Approaching the final couple of minutes. All about the possibility of a losing bonus point to take back on the flight with them now.
Inside. Ball is out.
And we know how important the odd losing bonus point picked up here and there can be over the course of this Champions Cup season. Absolutely critical final 2 minutes for both of these teams. Didn't go forward from Sanzel, but he's in a heap of trouble. Oh, it did go forward. Now, Heineken man of the match, Brian.
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously looking at the scoreboard, it's been a couple of impressive performances from Stade. You know, we talked about Sergio Parise before the game. He got through an awful lot of work, you know, an awful lot of involvement. You know, but obviously the key figures for Leicester, the Youngs brothers, I thought, you know, performed very well. Both gone before the hour mark. But for me, you know, the standout figure, Mike Williams, who moved from second row to 6 in the injury of Tom Croft coming in late. I thought he did a colossal performance, got through so much of the dog work, hit an awful lot of rucks, made an awful lot of carries, some big impacts. So for me, Mike Williams is the Heineken man of the match.
Part of Worcester's promotion push from the Championship this time last season.
Time on.
Champions Cup debut for his new club tonight. Brian's man of the match. And the work of Mike Williams on the ball. One of the reasons why Stade have been forced into 150 tackles tonight. Most they've been invited to make all season so far. Now, last 60 seconds. Something to warm the fingers and the toes of Leicester folk as they head home, perhaps. A fifth try, maybe. And the penalty. Is that Dan Cole suggesting they go for the posts?
Matthew Tate, the captain's walking over, telling them exactly to do that. They want to make sure that Stade can't get that losing bonus point, and they want to run down the clock.
If you're Captain Ben, do you make the same decision?
It's a tough call, isn't it? Because you let Stade score, and suddenly everyone's saying, well, why didn't you just run out the clock and make sure that they couldn't get that bonus point? I think I probably would.
I know it's very early in the competition, but you always have to start thinking about accumulating as many tries as you possibly can.
I'm sure Richard Cockrell agrees, shaking his head.
Let's go. Thank you.
Because powerful as their scrum has been today, they had to back themselves.
Absolutely, especially that last scrum.
the tee to conclude business. 33 points to 20. A winning Champions Cup start for Leicester on the biggest night of their season so far, their biggest win. Isn't it good to have Europe back?
Oh, look, and a stunning start. Brilliant game, full of adventure from both sides. And I think from a Leicester perspective, that Aaron Major influence finally starting to show with the style of play, particularly in the first half, with so much of the ball going into the backfield and the attack out wide.
Well, what do you make of that, Brian?
Well, listen, any hangover from the World Cup that we might have been feeling in the Northern Hemisphere should be, flushed out of the system after that 80 minutes. It was fantastic. Great to have Europe back. Two teams really going at it, playing attacking rugby, and some great tries to boot. So, we'll see more from Stade next week. They're a different proposition at home, but great start from Leicester in a group that they'll feel they can absolutely top.
Yeah, that was a much changed team. It's a fair way away from their first choice 15, but they were holding up for large portions of that match, Ben.
Oh, look, some quality players, particularly that man, but their ability to turn being on the back foot and having to defend into try-scoring opportunities just shows how dangerous all French teams are and all the English teams.